Hello, everyone. Welcome to this Read, Listen, Watch from Roofers Coffee Shop. My name is Karen Edwards, and we're really glad you're here because we are going to be talking about innovation in action. And I'm thrilled to have the team from MetalForming with me for today's RLW. Welcome, Stephen and Chad. It's great to see you guys.
Good afternoon. Great to be here. Good afternoon. Long time no see.
Yeah, I know. Well, we've got some exciting conversation coming up about, the metal industry in general, what's new with metal forming, and then what you all can expect at MetalCon, which is just 3 weeks from today. It's crazy. It's October 1st. Time is flying. I did open the chat, so feel free to say hello, tell us where you're from. If you have questions throughout, put them in there. We're going to make sure that we get everybody's questions answered. And we are recording this presentation. So if you want to refer back to it later or share it with someone who's not here, it will be available on Roofer's Coffee Shop in the RLW Read, Listen, Watch section within about 1 to 2 days from today. So by Friday, it'll be out there. But let's get going with some introductions. And Chad, you're up first. Can you tell our audience all about you?
So all about me is we don't have enough time for that. So I'll keep it short. I've been with Metal Forming actually since 1999, started as a service technician, and I've done a little bit of anything and everything. Moved into a sales role some years ago. And for the last couple of years, heavily involved in the business development area, which is really freed me up to go and do new things and look for new products, maybe some new innovations, some new technologies with as many questions that we get from customers. And how do I make this? Or I have this need. Once you hear it a couple of times, it's time to start looking for a solution.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I love that you started there as a technician and, have made your way through the company. You know the business inside and out, and you know the machines and the equipment inside and out. So finding new technologies is always great to do. And Stephen, tell us about you, please.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Steve Gosk. I've been here at Metal Forming for just about 3 years. And I joined the organization when Jeff Stone, the founder of the business, transitioned the company to private equity. So I've been, challenged with making sure we don't ever forget why Metal Forming was born and what was behind the need for the organization and what made the company where it was at when I joined, and at the same time looking forward and find that balance between people like Chad that have been here now over 25 plus years and bring in new talent and new people to give fresh ideas and influence to the business to where we're going, and continuing to make sure that we're focused on the customer and taking care of what the customer values.
Yeah, yeah, tough job, to balance all of that. And you're doing a great job because metal forming is just, continuing to grow and offer new innovations and solve customers' problems. So we love to hear it.
Yes, for sure.
Okay. So let's get started talking about the state of the industry, right? You're in it, you're working in it every day. There's lots of things happening in the current markets. We've got tariffs, we've got skilled labor, we've got the demand. Who wants to get us started talking about what you're seeing and hearing in the industry?
Yeah, we have the unique perspective. We talk to a lot of customers, and I'd say the word of the day is uncertainty. Everybody is filled for good reason with a lot of uncertainty based what's been happening in the market, and that includes everything from tariffs to the labor shortages that folks are challenged with, but also in our world, tariffs and exchange rate costs, just general interest rates and other things that are influencing how good people feel about making those investments back into the business. But what's interesting from my perspective, there's also a lot of tailwind in the business as well. And there's a a general pickup and trend towards metal roofing products. It's not only just the design, but also the materials that are available. And starting to see, roofing, metal roofing that is getting recognized for, how it could sustain hurricanes or fires. You're starting to hear about insurance companies starting to get into the mix. So there's a lot of dynamics at play for consideration. However, I'd say the vast majority of customers I speak with are having a good year. And
Yeah.
and they're not, despite all that churn, they're not too terribly impacted by all the dynamics in the market that could be viewed as a challenge. So that's wonderful to hear, and I think it's really indicative of just the sustainability of this metal roofing market and metal roofing space.
Yeah. Chad, what are you hearing?
A lot of the same. I think probably one of the surprising takes is we've had a handful of customers that were starting up a new business in the middle of all of this. So that really goes to the state of that there is demand. Um, the different finishes that are available now, all of the different profiles that are available today that were different even just 5 years ago. Somebody wanted in the residential industry, somebody wanted a board and batten profile. Well, it was a traditional, it's going to be a stick built, it's going to be wood, and it's only going to be used for whatever. Today, that board and batten is roll formed everywhere with whatever color, whatever type of finish that you would like. If you want a wood grain, you can have a wood grain. If you want camouflage and you want board and batten for your duck blind, I don't know, but it's all of the technology, I think, has really also improved the case for metal and the new finishes and what's possible in that aspect. And of course, there's always the green aspect of metal, the sustainability. For years, the metal suppliers have been really focused on the cool touch or the cooling aspect of the metal. And I think it's just really all of those things are really working together that ultimately a contractor can truly offer choices to the buyer.
Yeah. Yeah, the market is definitely growing. We hear statistics from our friends at the Metal Construction Association and the Metal Roofing Alliance in particular that, we're approaching 20% of the residential market anyway, and that's not even mentioning taking into consideration the commercial, but it's very, very versatile. There's a lot of things that you can do with metal. So let's talk about some of the challenges in the metal market. Stephen, you want to start us off here?
Yeah, I mean, on this slide, you really capture some of the broad brush challenges that are there. And, I'd say the challenges aren't in many of these cases unique to the metals market by any stretch. It's getting harder and harder to find skilled labor, whether that's on the roof or people, in our case, to run the technology and the machines that we have. You need to, figure out ways to become more efficient, more automated in what you're doing. We're also, seeing more and more of our customers wanting to do and supply a broader range of material and wanting to be a one-stop shop for their customers. They don't want to do 80% and send someone down the street for 20. So with that, they start to get into some of the less commoditized product areas, which then become more profitable in their mix. So it's a pretty resilient space, right? So our customers are finding ways to meet these challenges, stay cost competitive, and continue to grow their business successfully.
Yeah, for sure. Chad, what do
I,
you have to add there?
yeah, I think there's always, so just even looking at this slide, demand for efficiency, position, labor shortages, flexibility, expanded offerings. I think there's another key piece that in our industry, from the customer's side and capturing that customer in the details of what it is that they need. I don't think that this industry is taking full advantage of software solutions that exist. Maybe it's true if I want to design a building, and that's fine, but what if I just want one or two pieces? What if I want a custom solution? And I think that in some cases, no, probably more cases than I'm aware of, or that I'd like to believe exist. We've got a lot of tools in the front end. We've got a lot of tools on the shop floor. We've got tools on the back end. But a lot of times we just don't take a look at ourselves internally. Maybe I've got an internal something that, hey, we've been doing it this way for 30 years. This is what works for us. Sometimes that's where the change needs to happen. And it's a difficult change. It's hard, and it can be very expensive. It can be turns your life upside down. It shakes things up. Sometimes that's what's needed to get to those efficiency and those precision. The technology has changed so much that if you haven't changed maybe the way you're processing an order, or how does that information get out to the shop floor, you're not taking full advantage of what those technologies are that exist on the front end or the back end.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's
I
so
think there's
true.
a lot of, I think there's a lot of, I think there's a lot of benefit there that, some of the software pieces are not, and it's understandable. We're starting to see generational change, in the industry. The,
Yeah.
I'm not too old to say that there's plenty of software out there that I don't want to know anything about, and I don't want to have anything to do with it. And that's always a challenge, where do you jump off into the whole software world?
Yeah.
But it's another tool that's worth exploring.
It sure is, and I think, as we see, the next generation of workers and, coming into this generation that's grown up with technology, that's part of their everyday lives. They didn't live without it, right?
Right.
We're gonna see more of this, and it's the answer. Yes, it can be hard to change, but you have to do it, if you wanna keep up, especially. And it's looking inside, like you said, at those internal processes, and maybe being willing to try something new. And if it works, great. If it doesn't, try something else. So let's talk about how metal forming addresses these challenges. Go ahead, Steve, get us started.
Yeah, I mean, you go back to the earlier slide and you talk about, the need for accuracy, precision, kind of ease of use and productivity type benefits. And all of our supplier in some form or fashion are moving in that direction. Again, it needs to align with the customer's desire, as well as, space in some cases, as well as, just their appetite to evolve their own business. But, with all of our machine suppliers today, they do have some level of improved automation to help with the output or throughput in their production process. And, with all our products, the benefit is you are talking about a very consistent, precise piece of material being formed through the process. I mean, that's just an inherent benefit of what we offer, which means, less scrap, easier to put together out in the field, so on and so forth. So, we really are driving in this direction with some suppliers that are very cutting edge in their individual space.
I'd like to expound on a couple of things. Imagine that.
I didn't even ask if you had anything to add
No,
because I
no,
knew that you did.
imagine that. So, I mean, this is an area that I'm very passionate about, and I believe strongly in the products that metal forming has chosen. I believe strongly in the relationships that we have with our suppliers. And I believe that a customer should have that same feeling towards metal forming, that we are in this together, and nothing happens without those customers. So along with that, the automation piece, the ROI, the improved speed and accuracy, these are all measurable things that we can talk, and it's easy and clear to see. I think another piece that sometimes people get enamored with, or they get this the shiny new toy, they want to play with the shiny new toy, that one of the key things that, again, that metal forming is able to do is we're able to prevent each individual customer with their own level of solution. We don't have a one, here is one configuration, this is the way it should be, and here's what it is. We have multiple different configurations in automation with the Yorns product. I'll pick on that one. With the Yorns double bending solution and the side infeed and the material handling or parts manipulator, we don't offer one fixed solution. We have solutions for each individual customer to meet their desires and their needs. Today, maybe you're only ready to take that step up from a single bender to a double bender. But that machine that you purchased today is totally and fully prepared that you can add the side end feed later. You can add different levels of automation as you grow or as your needs change. So I think that's a key thing that about addressing those challenges is that there's not a one solution fits all. And here at Metal Forming, we'll talk a little bit about it coming up in the next couple of slides, but Metal Forming's approach truly is not a one shoe fits all. We have different options for your needs. So if you are somebody who's thinking about automation, no, that doesn't work for me. It's too expensive. I don't need all of that. That might be true, but it might not be true in 5 years. So we need to address and look at, what is it that I'm getting today so that I'm ready for tomorrow.
And a wonderful thing about capital equipment is you can figure out an ROI. And so despite some of the cost increases or other things that are going on in the world, you can still figure out an ROI. And more often than not, the value of the speed and accuracy and automation, you're still getting a very favorable ROI. Might be a little extended beyond where you were before, but it's still a very, very positive ROI that you can, really put your hands on and evaluate and calculate what that might be. So it's still very attractive to look at this type of equipment and automation.
Yeah. And I love that you are really using a consultative approach, in talking to the business owner about, what are your goals? Where do you want your business to be in 5 years? What are your needs now? And what do you see your needs being, a few years down the road? So it's not like, oh, I just have to go out and buy this machine, but you're going to make sure they have what's right for them and that can scale with them as they grow. That's important.
And we, of course, here have a full ability to do, demonstrations, run people's parts, let them see, not only how well they form, but also how long, and do time studies and all of the rest to prove out and make sure that, the expectation can be met.
Yeah. Yeah. It's proof, right? You got the proof before you even buy that it's going to work for you. So Chad, you mentioned in your introduction about having the opportunity to look for new technologies and look for new solutions. And that's going to lead us right into our next slide, which is your new product launches. And you have two. And yeah, I know we practiced VIETSTEEL. I know how to say that, right? Did I get that right?
You did, absolutely.
Okay, thank you. And then the roll former, VIETSTEEL roll former, and the Schroeder Architectural shear and folder. They're two of your new products this year, right?
They are indeed. And I'll start with, I'm going to pick on the Viet Steel side, and I'll let Steve speak a little bit about the Schroeder
Okay,
architectural machines.
let me go
Oh,
ahead one more
I'm
slide.
out.
There we go. We
Yeah,
can go
I'm out of
backwards.
order.
You go first, and then I'll back up.
Leave it to me. So in looking at ways both to grow metal forming, but also to meet customers' needs and demands, the roll forming industry as a whole across North America has a huge growth potential and is slated to continue to grow for the next 15 years, or is projected to continue on an upward path. And that's not just in our industry, but this is covering all types of manufacturing industries. So the opportunity and the demand and the need, again, as I spoke to, just in the last several months, we've had people starting up new businesses. So where do they go to find all of the products that they need? Metal Forming has always been a company that's looking for solutions and total solutions. And this has kind of been a piece that's been missing from our portfolio. One of the nice things with the internet and everything is just a click of the finger away. We were able to make some headway with the company VIETSTEEL. We really are excited about their product, the quality of the product, the standard features and benefits from their product. We're excited to show off and talk about it at METALCON. Different levels for different buyers. There are levels that will support somebody on a budget who's just starting an operation. And then there's levels for an established, somebody who wants a roll former that can go 165 feet per minute and a double high and full stacking and provide a hands-free solution. So a lot of opportunity. We're excited about it, and it fits in with what metal forming does. We're in this market space. We're excited to talk about it.
Yeah, and you're gonna have a tabletop version of this?
We
Uh,
we
uh,
we absolutely do. We got
mm.
our we received actually today the final product. It's done. We did receive some videos, so it's the system itself is about 30 inches long, and it's a fully functional roll former with a pre-cut shear and a post-cut shear. You feed sheets in it, and it will stop and cut, and it's fully functional. So we're excited to have that, and of course, we'll have some other videos and brochures and equipment, or not equipment, some samples and things to show what we are offering from VIETSTEEL. So we're excited to show off the toy, and if nothing else, come by and see the HO gauge. For all of you dorks out there like myself, you'll know what that means.
Well, you're gonna have to explain it for those dorks like me who don't know.
It's a miniature. It's a scaled down version. It's used in model trains. It's used as a reference from model trains. So anyway,
Got it. Okay, so now we're gonna just back up and we're gonna talk about the Schroeder system.
Sure. So just kind of a broader basis, I mean, in metal forming, we really do three things. We fold, we do coil processing, and we roll form. And so when we go out into the market and we look for additional lines, we look for lines naturally that have synergy with what we do, right? So they're in one of those three buckets, but as importantly, the companies themselves, are what metal forming was built on, and it may not be the cheapest, but certainly it's a high quality, high value type of machine. And then we look for products that naturally our salespeople will be able to support because it's in the same kind of space. And our field service tech and application support also can ramp up pretty quickly, so we can continue to present the product in the market the right way. And really that's how, VIETSTEEL came to be, as we tried to build out that roll forming portfolio. Little bit different here. We have had the Schroeder brand as metal forming for about 10 years. And this is our flagship brand into the precision industrial fabrication space. So if you came to a Fab Tech, for example, we had 5 different Schroeder machines in our booth. The biggest competitor in that space for Schroeder is really the press brake folks. But certainly, compared to some of our contemporaries doing folding in that space, this brand is heads above anything else that's out there. Well, Schroeder has always had an architectural offering. So this is not a brand new design. So what you see in the graphic here is their PBA, which is power bend architecture. There's actually a big brother to this machine called a PBM, or power bend multi, that we've had at the show now for the last couple of years. And there's also obviously a shear that's what's offered with this. And the reason we see the need and the benefit of bringing this product to market, it really does have some unique benefits for those who need those benefits, that go above and beyond what Schechtel and the Schechtel 10-foot standard 10-foot folder and shear might offer. And so we see a clear opportunity, again, for those people who are looking for that capability, to offer this machine in the US North American market as well. So this will be the first show coming up here that it will be there. And the biggest item that this is going to separate from other machines in the market is the fact that it offers a higher degree of safety, and at the same time with more throughput, which usually those two oppose each other. When you introduce higher safety, it usually slows things down. And part of the reason Schroeder can do this is because they're utilizing the same safety systems and experience that they've had in the precision space. And so it's really a neat machine that kind of sits, a little above the Schechtel in the sense of some of this capability. And then a step above this again is the PBM, which really offers a high level of versatility with regard to parts that could be actually built and created on the machine. So it really offers a broad range that fabricator that does not want to send the person down the street because they're unable to produce a certain part. These machines will start to address that. I'll let Chad kind of expound further.
Yeah, it's again, it goes to, we don't want to be locked into one offering. It gives us metal forming the flexibility to offer exactly what a customer's needs are. More and more contractors, people working with metal, if you're on a job site working with metal, there used to be, hey, you're the roofing guy, you're the columns guy, you're the window guy, you're the wall guy. No longer is that the case. It's do you do metal? Yes. Okay, well, I need you to do windows, walls, the roof, all of it. So the capability from one piece of equipment, I might need more capability today than I did even just 5 years ago. So, and again, being able to offer, having these multiple offers, because maybe some companies, hey, I'm going to just do the roofs. That's what I want to do. That's my part. That's what I'm going to do. Maybe he doesn't need this higher level of sophistication. But for those that do, we can offer everything from A to Z. Interesting thing, and I want to say it one more time. I want to make sure everybody hears this. The Schroeder Power Bend Architectural machine is the only system in the market space of its kind where I'm going to get increased throughput with the highest level of safety. Highest level of safety and more throughput. come by and see us.
Yeah, yes.
1003.
1003. You're going to have this machine there in your booth?
Yes, absolutely. And bring your profiles. Bring your
Yeah.
profiles. We'll draw them. We'll make them.
Yeah, with any of the equipment we have in our booth, one of the conditions I have is we've got to be ready to support it if we're going to present it to the market. So our team here has been through technical, field tech training on it. Our sales team's been trained on it several times. The same thing with VIETSTEEL. So all of the products that we're presenting, we're ready to support in the market.
Nice. Yeah, and just to reinforce the safety, right? Because you said it, you're gaining
Absolutely.
speed through the safety system. You and I, Chad, did an entire webinar all about
Yes.
safety.
Yeah.
So that's huge. That I can't wait to see it. So we'll definitely be coming by your booth at MetalCon and getting some photos and videos of this machine, this brand new one in action. That's really exciting.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and in addition to these two, there may even be another surprise or two to be had. So we're
Oh,
looking forward to MetalCon.
don't tease.
Oh, but
Darn,
we
yeah.
have.
So here we go. We're talking about MetalCon. It is in 3 weeks from today. I believe it starts on the 25th of October.
On second.
It's that week. 22nd is the first day. Yeah, 21st, 22nd. And this is what's going to be happening in your booth. Let's talk
Yes,
about it.
absolutely. So all of the powered equipment will be fully operational. We can show you anything that you want to see, controls, software. We specifically have a software demo area that is for our solution called Bendex. Exciting things are happening there as well. That's moving to a all web-based platform. So it will be platform agnostic. That's my big word for the day. What does that mean to contractors? You can use it on your iPad, on your tablet, on your laptop, whatever device, because it's all web-based. Any of the equipment from manual machines to coil processing, we'll have it all there ready to go.
And we are joined with all our supplier partners, are represented as well. So they come in and are there in the booth to support the show and talk to customers. And in some cases, you could talk to Mark Yorns about a Yorns. So you're talking to the owner of the company, the founder of the company, about the equipment that we're demoing. So it's always unique.
Yeah, you can see in the photo up at well, it's easy to find their booth because you just look for the big sign, right? But you do have a lot of different brands and a lot of different logos on that sign. And you've got very knowledgeable people that are going to be at the show to answer questions. And yeah, I mean maybe you'll see some of those folks that are starting their own business and or visiting MetalCon just to learn and see what's new.
All the time. I mean, it's, every show, there's at least a handful of roofing contractors who come into the booth, say they've decided to start fabricating their own metal because they want to control their own schedule, they want to control their costs, and they want to maybe sell some in the market. And, you start talking through what they need to get up and going. And, what's great about metal forming is, we do have, roll formers, coil processing, or just, shears and folders to get them going in their business. And what's really, I always absolutely love talking to those customers because frankly, it's very humbling because it's very real. I mean, it may not be the largest customer we have, but I'll tell you what, it is a big deal for them to be spending the kind of money on our machines that they're about to spend. And they are, counting on our support and our ability to get, them functional as soon as possible and stay up and running because a down machine is a huge issue. And, that's one of the things I harp on with our team here is the trust that those customers are putting into metal forming. And we've got to, make sure we're doing everything in our power to, keep that trust and support those machines.
Yeah, yeah, it's almost like you knew what slide was coming next.
But before we go to that slide, I just wanted to bring up for those that are coming to MetalCon, or even if you can't come to MetalCon, we do have some financing options that I've not seen available. And the first time I saw it, I was like, this can't be real. But we do have some financing programs up to and including 6 months, no payment with no down payment.
Oh,
So
wow.
that paired with Section 179 accelerated tax depreciation schedules that have been reinvigorated, bumped back up as they were dwindling away. Those are back in place and have some really good advantages. So as Steve was talking about earlier, there are plenty of companies that have been busy and likely have been profitable. And maybe now is the time to invest. Potentially, use our financing, no out of cash, no out of pocket cash. Keep your capital, money, keep your money in your pocket. Sorry, my brain's decided to not work at the moment.
Well,
Maybe
you
get a couple jobs completed before you even have to make your first payment.
exactly. That's what I was going to say. You're able to use it for that 6 month period and get jobs done. And so you're making money before you're even paying
Yeah,
for it. It's kind of a no-brainer.
yeah. So yeah, come and talk to us about those tools as well. Plenty of tools.
Yeah, yeah, including financing tools. So, speaking of, Steve, you mentioned no downtime, right? Getting up and running quickly and no downtime. Can you talk a little bit about the resources that you have to ensure that contractors are up and running quickly and continue to run with little downtime?
Sure. So we offer a full array of support here, everything from our field tech supports that go out to job sites, along with application, technical support. On some of these machines, you can actually do remote diagnostics, and in those cases, 90% of the time, we don't even have to come out to the machine. We can determine what's wrong remotely and decide on the best way to take care of that problem. Beyond that, parts availability, a variety of parts, particularly we get a history and a wear part history from our suppliers, and we use that history to determine what inventory we carry here. We're not always right, but we do have a large amount of parts here, multi-million dollars of parts here at this facility to ship out. A lot of the electrical components also can be sourced because they're very common global brands, Siemens and B&R, which are sourceable here. So we have that ability to also source parts. Recently, we've started to promote and put into play preventive maintenance agreements. If customers choose to do that sort of thing, the supplier level agreements, which will tend to be more in the higher level machine. For this space, preventive maintenance agreements are probably more common, but we can offer that for the customers. And then with the team here, whether it's the initial install to after the product's been up and running, or in some cases on the larger machines before the product even gets here, we'll bring people in to train them on the products and show them how to program the machine. So when the machine shows up, they're ready to go. So just a litany of things. I would say that, there's a little bit of a work in progress for us. And once you get 10,000 machines in the field,
Mhm.
there's a lot of machines to support because these machines last typically 20 plus years. So, we've been very focused on the 3 years since the acquisition of building out our tech support group and field tech services. And it's really starting to pay dividends. I've heard more positive customer feedback in the last 6 months than I heard in the previous 2 years, which is always wonderful to see that customers feel strongly enough to take the time to write me a note, to write someone in the organization a note, either thanking them for their service or recognizing an employee for the above and beyond that they provided. But, you know, a lot of it goes right back to what I said, Karen. I mean, we have got to be, you know, very humbled and appreciative of the trust these customers put on us when they buy a machine. And we've got to be there to support them with all we can if there is an issue. And we continue to be very, very focused and dedicated in that effort.
Yeah. Yeah, that's 10,000 plus machines. You're right, is a lot to support out there. And I like that you mentioned about the maintenance agreements and stuff because it makes me think of buying a car, right? You buy a car and you have to change the oil, you have to check the brakes, you have to get new tires, right? And the machine's got to be similar, right? We need to make sure it's being checked and that parts, if they need to be replaced, are being replaced. Because that can be very costly to have a machine that's not running.
Right.
Yeah, and oddly enough, our suppliers incredibly build machines that they do get neglected from that aspect at times because, truly a customer's focus is they want the finished good that's coming off of that machine. Let us come and do the maintenance, ensure that you're paying for insurance is really what you're doing. So that when you need to make that one piece of trim, when you need that one more something, you have that assurance and that peace of mind that I can turn this machine on and it's going to operate for me.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. All right. So learning more and connecting with metal forming. Let's talk about that.
So we're with today's technology, there was quite a time where, and I almost think really it was just the time period that we were in, the excitement of uh, doing things over the internet. And we did a lot of virtual demos and video demos, and that was all exciting. And then that kind of stopped. Some COVID probably was to blame for some of that, and things have kind of changed again now where people want to see things hands-on in person again. And I personally, I really like that, but the virtual demos, being able to make videos and send those to people that might be interested is a great way to answer a lot of questions before somebody decides to invest and make a trip. That airfare is not cheap anymore. Nothing is. Rental cars, gas, hotels, none of these things are, you need to be sure. And this is a great way that we can start that process. Training, we can do training remotely. We have a training room that is set up and dedicated. That's what it's for. I think we can hold probably somewhere around 30 people in that room. That's too big of a group for it to really be work, but we have those areas and those tools. And these are things that maybe a lot of people don't know about metal forming or some of those changes. And shame on metal forming. We need to talk about more about these things. We spent a lot of time talking about the equipment, right? But these are all important things. Somebody, you can come here.
Yeah.
There's employee turnover. We can do retraining for people. How they can come here. We can come to you. Do it online. So a lot of options, and it's really only possible because there has been a focused effort to putting in the resources to support the after sales functions here at Metal Forming.
Yeah. And I think I've heard you say you've got over $5 million of inventory on your show floor.
Probably starting at there's
Just on the floor. And then, of course, our other inventory that we carry beyond just parts, but in machines. And we have a alternate warehouse that we utilize at the Port of Savannah. So, we're really positioning and spooling up to be positioned to continue to grow and build out the business further. In this regard here, it's all about flexibility, where it's kind of have it your way. I mean, whatever you're willing to do. We're an easy ride from the Atlanta airport. And now we've got the team here that literally any machine on our show floor on any given day, we could support a demo or support some training on. We've had, you know, numerous of our outside field techs move into inside application type roles. So they're here in the facility, not traveling and available to support the customers.
Nice. Yeah, and you guys are located in Georgia. You said it's an easy ride from the Atlanta airport. So if anybody wants,
Most of the time.
depends on traffic, right?
Most of
Um, and lots of flights in and out of Atlanta. So you have a lot of options. Excellent. Well, this has been a really interesting conversation and very informative. I am checking the chat and our Q&A, and I see that you guys have done such a great job explaining everything that we don't have any questions. So we'll just wrap things up then and thank everybody for being here. Thank you, MetalForming, for sharing a look at what's new to come. And this is just really cool. We're excited for MetalCon. We're excited to see you there. And hopefully, if you're watching this, you know, go by the MetalForming booth, take a look at the stuff that they have there. And then, you know, we're there too. Metal Coffee Shop will be there. So we'd love for you to stop by and say hi to us as well. So thank you all for watching this Read, Listen, Watch. As I mentioned, this is available on demand on Roofers Coffee Shop within 1 to 2 days. And, you know, you check out some upcoming ones. We hope to see you on a future episode. Steve, Chad, thank you as always. It was great to have you here. And thank you for being on this webinar.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
Enjoyed it.
thank you for
All
having
right.
us here.
We'll see you all next time. Take care. Bye-bye.